Yeah, Guy, first of all, thank you very much for the invitation. I think there is no doubt the future of work is depending on various factors. First of all, the competitiveness of the national economy is of key importance at any point of time. And in this respect, also institutions matter, including macro policies, but also an efficient and fair system of education, training, labor market regulation, and social security. But in addition, long-term trends affect the labor market and need to be addressed properly, such as demographics, globalization, and technological change. I will focus on the emergence of digitalization, which will most likely be the main driver of technological change in the foreseeable future. In this context, we often talk about smart automation, and it covers many elements, and they were partly mentioned today, such as mobile robots, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. But what is decisive in this context is that connectivity reaches completely new dimensions. Electronic devices and microprocessors connect people with each other, machines with workers, and even machines with machines. And although the spread of digitalization have already gained momentum, its impacts remain to be rather uncertain, and most of them are still ahead of us. Now, what can we expect? And I fully agree with Laszlo Andor in this respect. Digitalization will most probably drive productivity and economic growth. First evidence indicates that massive job losses in terms of technological unemployment as a consequence of digitalization seems to be rather unrealistic. And this is mainly because new technologies generally open new markets, create additional demand, and act as a catalyst for a dynamic structural change. However, digitalization will most likely cause considerable shifts in the composition of employment. In general, shifts may favor certain areas of service employment, relying on non-routine tasks. That is what also Raymond mentioned earlier. The shifts may also favor jobs requiring high skills, and in particularly ICT skills, as well as creative and social skills. There's also no indication that in the future it will be much easier to tackle structural labor market problems, which we see in most of the advanced and even developing countries, such as skill shortages, the persistence of unemployment, or the inequality in employment. And it might even get more difficult to solve these problems in the future. Why that? First of all, concerning skill shortages, they may even be reinforced through digitalization. Due to the increasing demand for new skills and for new tasks, and the gaps between job requirements and the abilities of workers, these skill shortages can occur to a greater extent than in the past. And another potential impact is the appearance of skill obsolescence, because job requirements will probably change rapidly. And then we can really expect a race between technology on the one hand and the system of education in general, but also the system of vocational education in particular on the other hand. Now, what is regarding the problems of persistence? They also may increase because prerequisites to enter the labor market or to re-enter the labor market will be higher by trend in the future, particularly regarding skill levels, because we have this rise of non-routine tasks. Nevertheless, in my point of view, there are at least two groups of hard-to-place workers for whom improvements seem to be conceivable. The first group is which may profit from advanced robotics. They enable at least parts of the physically disabled workers to be even more productive than they would have been otherwise. Secondly, the other group consists of people who must take care of relatives and therefore often have to stay at home. And the use of digital technologies offers them more opportunities for mobile work and may therefore be able for them to increase their labor market participation. Now, what may happen to the quality of employment? Here, digitalization has a potential to become a new driver of inequality. Why that? Parts of the labor market which are favored by the emergence of digitalization, particularly employment and services, are those in which one can observe a greater spreading of non-standard work as well as low remuneration. There are also indications that digital technologies may influence the relationship between dependent employment and self-employment. Due to the lowering of transaction costs through the internet, as well as through online platforms, market coordination is getting more attractive. New types of self-employment, such as crowd employment, have a potential in certain segments, particularly in cases in which capital investment does not play a significant role. In addition, since mobile work and working at home will become much easier, traditional concepts of measuring working hours may become less important. Such concepts might increasingly be replaced by new forms of output orientation. And in addition, there are no indications that the long-term trends towards wage inequality might fundamentally be reversed through new technologies. And this is also because low-skilled workers would probably face even more difficulties to enter or re-enter the labor market. As I already mentioned, there is really still a lack of solid evidence. For that reason, one has to be very careful with respect to policy recommendations, with respect to future reforms. And therefore, one has to be very cautious. But there, in my point of view, there are at least 4 main areas of concern. The first one is skill adjustment. Second one deals with labor market regulations. The third one with labor market programs and social dialogue. Guy, I will be very brief. Concerning skill adjustment, in my point of view, it will be even more necessary to prevent poverty in terms of education and qualification in the future. Work-based training seem to be the superior way to acquire relevant skills instead of classroom training. With respect to regulations, we have to focus much more on self-employment than in the past. And there are, at least in my point of view, 2 issues. The first one is to give more incentives or even obligations for self-employed to ensure themselves regarding unemployment and old age pensions. And what we also need are intelligent ways to establish fair crowd employment. The third issue, labor market programs, they have to react much more than in the past on increased dynamics due to reallocation. The aim should be to enable mobility and flexibility of individuals, to facilitate a lifelong employability, and to foster transitions from less stable forms of employment to more secure forms. And this also includes a professional infrastructure to support startups of self-employment and also a greater focus on the long-term skill development of self-employed. Finally, social dialogue can also play an important role in this context. Possible areas of interest in this context are to establish a new culture of lifelong learning within companies, to initiate new ways of financing further training, to deal, and I think this is very important, with conflicting interests regarding working time regulation and management, and also, and which is also, I think, crucial, to take care of significant progress concerning the humanization of work, and last but not least, to ensure an appropriate data protection for workers. Thank you very much.